The book is called Terminated. The End of Man is here. That's the subtitle. On the front, of course, is the Terminator, and we've all seen the Terminator on film after film. Arnold Schwarzenegger really gave the Terminator a personality. In a way, we kind of liked the guy. He was a very hard, robotic character, but he had a heart of gold.
Well,
and
that's
this is
only
propaganda.
Yeah, propaganda. And remember this, he was an assassin from the future.
Yes.
And this is what I think, Gary, is the most problematic issue in discussing artificial intelligence. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what you hear and what you read and see on the headlines, that's entry level. They have so far gone beyond that. It's like leaps and bounds. I asked a general again. I asked a spook, intelligence agent, and it's interesting their response. They said, how far in the future are you in all this? He said 1,000 years in the past, and then he hummed. He said, no, probably 10,000. Remember, Solomon said there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
History not only repeats itself, but I have a different reason, Gary, for why history repeats itself. Because the same architect of destruction, we will call him El Destructo, Lucifer, is the one behind it all. There's a time when God's giving the enemy power to make war on the saints and to prevail. That's what the scripture says. And I believe we're approaching that time. So how do we, as believing Christians, deal with the realm, number one, of the supernatural, but also the technological decadence and the destroyed imperative of these machines to kill all humans? Somebody said, well, what's the last command a robot or an autonomous machine will give? It's simple: kill all humans.
Sure. Now, you go back to the Terminator, the movie series, and what was happening there. Well, an artificially intelligent system was coming online, and it was going to control the whole Earth, apparently. That was the script idea. And our hero robot friend, the Terminator, through a variety of methods, finally did away with Skynet, which was the evil artificial intelligence power. And I think everybody's seen this movie. If they haven't, they've heard about it now. This stuff sounds like fiction, but those of us who have read a little bit behind the pages, the front pages of the papers, understand that this is not fiction.
At the last conference we had in Branson last year, that would be the 2018, you're speaking at this year's 2019. By the way, thank you very much. It was called Transhumanism in the Hybrid Age. Mm-hmm. Hugo de Garis wrote a book called The Artilect War. And why bring this up at this point? His opening statement, Gary, we either kill AI or it destroys us and all humanity. Now, this is one of the guys that designed the human brain and, if you will, the artificial intellect. And so when you've got someone of that prowess and someone that knowledgeable telling you we're in for trouble, not to mention Elon Musk, who's Mr. Technology. There's so many people now that are warning against us. You have two sides. You have the pro and you have the con. I'm on the con. By the way, Tom Horn and I were considered, you're going to love this. Did Tom tell you this? We're the leaders of the transhumanist resistance movement in the world. I said, oh, great. That means I got another love fest going on.
You've got a sign on your back.
Yes.
I'm looking at the table of contents of Steve's new book, Terminated, and it talks about the imminent peril. Kill the witnesses. Who are the witnesses that are destined to be killed or on a list to be killed?
Well, first of all, kill the witnesses. I mean, I'm not talking about the two witnesses in Revelation.
Right.
I'm talking about those who are witnessing and can see what lies in the future and are warning. A witness has to see something in order to have a valid testimony.
Right.
And so when we're talking about this, Gary, even these guys who are technocrats and billionaires, even some of them are warning, but most are embracing it. They're not just going to go silently into the night. They're going to go into the night, and they're going to have their day on the planet. And I think, let's take Skynet, okay? When Facebook came out, I called it Faces of Death book. Now, that's in my opinion. Faces of Death book and all the facial recognition programs We've talked about people openly bringing Alexa and eavesdropping devices into their own home.
Sure.
I remember talking on talk radio 5 years ago, talking about a certain brand TV, and I said, your TV's watching you. They can turn every pixel into a movie camera. Well, people say, that's kind of the first response I get. But, the thing that is critical, then Samsung comes out, and that's one of the TVs, and said, put a sheet over your television in the bedroom. Now, here's what I want people to understand. All social media was designed and promulgated by Marcus Wolf, very famous name in the world of spies. He was the head of the East German Stasi, and before he died, he was brought to the United States to set up the quintessential self-erecting spy dossier on all of its citizens. Because it's not just, and I'm not on Facebook, I have a monitored Facebook account. Gary, there were hundreds of people claiming to be me and posting all this stuff on Facebook. I've never posted myself. I didn't even read my own site. So I had to hire a person that does nothing but monitor Facebook, for the fake me's on Twitter or wannabe me on Facebook. And that was because they wanted to derive the revenue from people going to my website for whatever reason. But the social media card has yet to come to fruition, because in that social media posting, this is all in the book, you're building an intelligence dossier. They know what you did last night. They know what you're going to do in the morning. And by the way, a lot of people aren't getting jobs because when Sally says, I went out and partying all night with my fraternity sisters, and they go in and answer a questionnaire for a prospective employer, and he says, do you party? And they say no, bingo, they're out.
Yeah.
So listen, it is how would I say this? It's an electronic Darwinian technologically developing system where it won't be the survival of the fittest. It'll be the most, you to the best of your ability, you want to keep whatever you can private. I told you too, I met with a specialist only in person, an AI guy. He said AI is totally transparent. You want to come tell the people what that means?
Transparent. You can see it, it can see you.
Yeah, you can see it, it can see you. And there's nothing that you think, it's just like cars. Every car is tracked, and obviously they know. And do you want to share the experience you had? Or?
Well, it's simply that my navigation system in my car, and coupled with my iPhone and watch, knew where I was going to go when last Friday I pulled out of the driveway. It told me that it would be 6 minutes to my destination. And my reaction was, uh-oh, I haven't even told you where I'm going yet. But it knew.
It anticipated based on your previous trips.
Yes.
Where you would go. It knows the timing. It knows, we're all creatures of routine. And, it doesn't matter who thinks they don't have a routine. And even then, they anticipate. The artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, it's not just what you're typing on your smartphone or your computer keyboard or whatever. It's tattletale spirits. That's why familiar spirits. Seances are a big deal. It's because the demons watched Uncle George give you your little red flyer wagon that they can say, do you remember when I gave you the little red flyer wagon? They're deceiving spirits, and that's what we're up against. So we're up against the most profane technological assault on God's creation. And I'm telling you, on this book, if I can hold it up a minute, on this book, Terminated, the tombstone reads, here lies the human race who refused to recognize their end when it stared them in the face. And the open acknowledgement from some of the people who are promoting genetic manipulation, transhumanism, superhumanism. It's the day they live for the day there's no longer any humans.
Now, getting back to the Terminator and Skynet and this vast control system, I'm going to Daniel, chapter 11, verse 36, talking about the Antichrist. The king shall do according to his will, and shall exalt himself, magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods. So the Antichrist is going to be a gifted person. You drop down here, it says, but in his estate shall he honor the God of forces. this mysterious God of forces, a God whom his fathers knew not. I think we're talking about that God right now.
Well, we are, because the beast, too, okay, that people are going to worship. Imagine an omnipotent, omnipresent, and all-knowing artificial construct. Because, see, that's, you and I were talking before, and we should just keep the cameras running, but we were talking about the oldest lie in the Old Testament, and that is, you shall be as God, knowing good and evil, and ye shall not surely die. Basically, the promise of transhumanism, you're going to know it all, you're going to have access to it all, and you're never going to die. Your body wears out, you just download into a new, nicely designed, updated model, And what's interesting to me is that the people are so polarized in this argument. And the reason they're polarized is because if you can't see your end, you probably don't want to deal with it. Now, here's the good news for Christians. Jesus said he's given us power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt us. Also, we can put on the helmet of salvation. It's not made of aluminum foil, and that's how we protect our thoughts. And so the point being in this, and I think it's critical, is when we're talking about the full armor of God, notice the context it's put into. It's put into a supernatural context. In the book of Corinthians, where it says the weapons of our warfare are not but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. The thing that's really important to understand of this, everything that we're up against has a supernatural origin. So why would people believe that AI, artificial intelligence, would be anything less than what I call DPI, demon-possessed intelligence?